Hi, thanks for joining us. tplmedia.ca for more great content. That's tplmedia.ca. Don't forget to subscribe and tell a friend. And we remind you that we keep the wheels on this cart thanks to your help and support. So thank you very much. All right, we're back from Calgary, Brady.
Yes, we are.
And a couple of things. I thought what we might do is have a quick review.
Okay.
Of what happened on our trip. And just kind of give people a feel for what the convention was like. We were at the CPC convention, the federal convention that took place at the BMO Center in Calgary. And
may I say before we get started, the weather was beautiful.
We had a Chinook.
It was gorgeous.
We had a wee Chinook. It was quite good. It was nice for us to be able to get off the plane, and it was above zero when we had just gotten on the plane, and it was minus 21 when we got on the plane, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, coming back, it felt like minus 21. The frozen tundra that is Toronto right now doesn't make any sense. Usually out west, when you go up towards the mountains, is when you start getting cold. People were in shorts and T-shirts in Calgary.
I think that they stay in shorts and T-shirts in Calgary. I'll be honest with you. They seem most comfortable that way. Keep it weird, Calgary. Beautiful town. By the way, I want to do one thing, if I may, Brady.
Yeah.
Is a tip of the hat and a great congratulations to the city of Calgary's police. I was there in the fall, and I was very concerned about what was going on in the streets. There was enormous amounts of drug use and homeless, mental health issues, and we were even chased one evening by a homeless guy who had so much to say and a lot of aggression. It was a scarier place just months ago. Whatever they have done, and I think we covered it in a couple of episodes, they have done amazing things cleaning up the streets where tourists go, where the restaurants are, where business takes place.
Yep.
And they did it with, they explained it to us. I had a few minutes with the police, and thank you for the time. Well, and they explained it to us.
Apparently the Calgary Tower, when you went out there in the fall, was just, there was people everywhere. That little walking strip where there's a couple Stampede stores and a couple nice restaurants.
And stuff like that, yeah.
When we were there, it didn't seem any different than anywhere else I've been. There's a few here and there, but they were very respectful. They were kind of out of the way. They're not bothering the
and you could see that they were interacting with those. The police were interacting with those people every time we saw.
Yep.
But it was interesting because it's not just the police. They have a mental health, a social services professional with them. They have a medical team with them, and they make their way through the problems one by one. But it's obvious that they had a major sweep. They covered a lot of warrants that were outstanding. They brought a lot of people into hospitals that were desperate for it, and they started the process to get people back into a better living scenario.
And we even talked to a gentleman out front of one of the after parties.
Yes.
And remember how nice he was, a former military guy, a down on his luck type thing. Very polite, very nice. We were looking for coffee. He was trying to take us around the city to show us.
That's true.
And I mean, he had already gotten the money out of us. It wasn't like he was trying to get anything else.
It was obvious to me that there wasn't as much blatant drug-related problems on the street. That guy, for example, was completely straight.
Oh yeah, he just was down on his luck.
He was just down on his luck. He was having a hard time.
Which seems to be that this is what we were talking about when we were out there. So Calgary fluctuates.
Well, here's the thing. We, in the last couple of trips, we really understand how the price of a barrel of oil affects the lives of people in Alberta.
Yeah.
And so, well, look, let's start there with nice work, City of Calgary.
Great
and
job.
The police people, the police department and the people that work with them. Just a remarkable change on the streets.
And from what I can see, they have a lot more shelters. Like, stuff is stretched out a little bit more, so I'm assuming there's a lot more shelters, a lot more places to put these people, safe injection sites, things like that, as compared to Toronto, where everything seems like it's kind of on top of each other, right? So
that part of the trip was quite nice, actually, to see that improvement. And
beautiful weather, cleaning up the city. The downtown core is very clean, very nice. People are friendly.
Great food.
Wow,
we ate very well. But we were there for a purpose.
Yes.
We were there for the Conservative Convention, as many other media were out there, and as you know, we're new. So that proved to be a bit of a different experience for us.
Mike, can I ask, so you roll into town Thursday early before everybody's even there to do the opening ceremonies and discussions and conversations. What was your first impression of rolling up to BMO Center?
There was no humans.
Zero.
In that morning. Well, I mean, it picked up. I have to say that I've read the numbers that were at the convention, and maybe I looked at it through a different lens because of our scenario. And my number counting wasn't right, but I was hearing that there was 2,500, that there was 3,000 people in attendance.
I've heard the number 3,000 thrown around.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that I counted that number of people.
No, I know for a fact there was not 3,000 people there, and including staff.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Maybe for the speech, maybe for the big event, maybe there was some thing. But by and large, on the first day that we were there, and maybe that's because it was the first day, I can't speak to any other things happening in that building after that first day.
One of the things that I did notice when we were rolling up the very first day was how much of the media, both independent and corporate, were outside.
Yeah, maybe that was weather related. I'm not sure, but I will say this. We were not given media passes.
No.
In fact, we went to great lengths and for several weeks spent time explaining to the party that we were waiting on our media passes. And I'll be honest with you, Brady, I don't remember not getting a media pass for something in my career. Now, this is new. We're new.
I've never been denied a media pass through. As long as you come correct and you know what you're doing, you should not be denied media, especially for something like this, which is.
We had a full crew, research team.
Yep.
And writers.
Street team. We had a
and our street team with us. And we were told no. We were not accredited. Well, you know what? In the future, I hope that we are. But it was very interesting, and I think because we're new, so if you're with us already, you're sort of you're going to in the future be referred to as OG because we are new.
Yeah.
However, we're not a huge base, but the numbers that we get on views are outstanding. Because we hit topics that Canadians really want to talk about.
And we're grassroots, as grassroots as can be. And I do feel like whatever the political parties, they should be embracing independent media. And I don't think that they are. And I firsthand found that out at this convention.
So here's what happened. I say to Brady, okay, look, Brady, we walked outside and Brady, you said to me, okay, where's the passes? And I said, look, Brady, here's the thing. There are no passes because they're not having us in. And the entire crew just looked at me and Brady went, okay. And I said, send in the street team with the newspapers. And we had
thousands of newspapers distributed over the convention.
Stay with me. I'll show you.
Thousands of newspapers distributed over the convention. Mike was so, for a lack of a better term, butthurt that the media passes weren't given to us. So we guerrilla bum rushed the place and handed out thousands of newspapers with the street team until we were completely walked off of the property.
Did you get one of these in Calgary? Interestingly, it was so fun to walk around the whole convention center and everybody doing this. Oh, well, okay.
That's a beautiful paper, if I say so myself.
So, I mean, the mission was that it gives a highlight of the story to give people a taste of what we're doing, and they can link through and watch the video. If they like it, great, stay with us.
Now, it sounds like we just went in there and did something quick and then we're thrown out. No, we went in there at noon hour and at 3:48, we were finally kicked out. So
we proceeded to do cut-ins and clips and interviews right there. And by about 4 o'clock, when it was time for our street team to go home, lo and behold,
and may I say, the conversation that you and Paul had that opening day out front, which is available on our YouTube channel and our channels, fantastic conversation.
Oh, thank you. In fact, we had a lot of great conversations. We talked about separatism with one of the individuals who really was a founding supporter and political leader of the separatist movement. The independence movement in Calgary. And we had a great chat with, somebody who's a big deal in the crypto economy, but really tied into Alberta on the whole. A fantastic interview. And then we had a really, really good conversation about freedom and rights.
Yes.
And the freedom of speech and the laws that are coming to our government.
Yeah, and don't get it fooled. Just because we didn't get it in the convention doesn't mean that we didn't get some of the greatest content that we could get while we're in Calgary talking to some of the most important people there.
Well, it bugged me only for one reason, okay? So we get there, and so I say to the street team and to you, Brady, congratulations, because as our sort of guy on the street, there's one other interview that I want to talk about. You went out and did an amazing mini doc with Harvey the Hound, the original mascot for the
The
NHL.
very first NHL mascot.
Yeah. That's an amazing piece. It'll be out in the next week, and I recommend. It's just an enjoyable watch. So congratulations on that. A lot of great content was made in
Shouts out
Calgary.
to Grant. Very nice man.
But and also to our street team that did persevere. And I'd also like to say thanks to the security people who were lovely in asking us to leave. But it was overall, it was just an experience of denial that it didn't feel great.
It didn't. And I know that you had put together a piece for Pierre himself.
Yeah.
I know I'm
It's not a
looking at
piece, it's a letter.
It's a letter.
I wrote.
I don't know if you want to read the entire thing, but can you read a couple excerpts from it so that
Brady, I happen to have it right here.
please do. I can't
You know what?
wait.
Can I just say this? Before we left, I noticed in the National Observer an article about how the federal Conservatives have traded journalists for partisan cheerleaders. And although I'm not
That came out about a week before we even went out there.
yeah, it was amazing. You know, Mario of the North, the Pleb, Mark Nixon, and Berta Proudtad, all given passes, like content creator passes. But these are the same people that Pierre thanked in his speech in his the last time that he was voted in as the leader of the party. It's almost like he created an echo chamber there. I just want to say that we were happy to be a balanced conversation.
Can I ask you before you read that, why do
yeah.
you think that majority of independent media was not allowed in?
Didn't you see a scenario, by the way, where somebody was actually, one of the independent journalists was really quite upset with the PR people?
I seen a few independent journalists turned away, like us, and I seen a few, specifically one independent journalist be physically thrown out.
Yeah, that seemed weird, right?
Very weird.
Yeah.
They're there to cover your convention.
Yeah.
Out of their own time, and as far as I know, that person had slept in the street to make sure that they were there early that morning. So,
well, I don't know if that's a resounding
maybe that's one of the
endorsement
reasons
of independent
I
media.
was going to say maybe that's one of the reasons why they got thrown out. But no,
but it was one of those
it was
things.
chaos for independent media.
I think it was a little bit. Yeah, we were not welcome. That's for sure. And yet the delegates were really kind to us, and
but can I
we
ask
had
you,
great conversation.
And I know you'll get into it with Paul later on, but why do you think that is, Mike?
That's a great question. I think that there is a resentment toward traditional media that I don't understand when I see only the CBC, who he doesn't want to fund, being let in.
Yeah.
And CTV and
Global and all these other,
all of
yeah. Why? If you don't like them and you're going to use portions of your speech to talk down to them.
No. But he lets in the independent media, but he lets in the ones that he thanks in his speeches.
Yeah, only the ones that seem to be a part of the party.
I'm not sure that I'm going to get a thank you in his next. Well, look here. I'll just tell you what I put down.
Let's hear it.
Dear Mr. Poilievre, I had to spell it 8 times. Doesn't matter. Don't lie. You do too. Everybody has a problem with this one. I'm just kidding. I'm writing directly and respectfully regarding an experience our team had surrounding the recent Conservative convention in Calgary. We made the decision to travel to Calgary at our own expense to cover the convention and offer a platform for discussion for our audience. An average of roughly 10,000 Canadians per podcast post. By the way, that was pretty conservative. We're killing it. Yep. Whatever. Yep. With that reach continuing to grow rapidly, our intention was simple: to give a voice to everyday Canadians and provide space for thoughtful, substantive political conversation. That's it. You know, despite multiple outreach attempts, our requests for media access were ignored and we were ultimately denied accreditation. This was disappointing, particularly as we observed numerous paid social media influencers being granted free access to the convention floor. That contrast was difficult to reconcile, especially given that our work is editorial in nature, independently funded, and focused on long-form discussion rather than promotional slogan content. We proceeded regardless and produced our own podcast from Calgary. We believe strongly in the importance of conversation, even when access is restricted. That said, as our network continues to scale, the reality is that the opportunity for your team to engage with us, and by extension to our audience, has now been significantly narrowed by that decision. We're in the process of building into we're in the process of development of this media network. Our goal is not to chase influence, but to build a durable platform that reaches Canadians who want more than slogans or sound bites. I'd much prefer that this growth included open lines of communication with you and your team rather than leaving that potential unrealized. Perhaps we should talk.
Very well written and very honest and direct of what we are, what we represent, and what we were planning on doing when we were there.
Do you think I should take this part out?
What's that?
I don't want to leave you or your message in the dust as we continue building what is becoming a meaningful and an influential Canadian media platform. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that seemed a little much. But anyway.
I think we finished it at the first
Now,
breath.
having said that, maybe that'll get presented to Pierre Poilievre. I doubt that I will ever really send it because it does sound like I'm a little butthurt, but I am because really.
Oh, you didn't send it? I thought that was sent.
No, I just sent it to you
Well, you
guys.
kind of just sent it now to the world.
Well,
so.
there you go. If you want to share it with Pierre, feel free. I think that the most important thing that was left behind there was quality conversation that included the party. I don't think that there's any reason to be afraid of us or to think that we would turn on anybody. We have open conversation. If we're wrong about something and you can convince us that you're right, the likelihood is that we'll understand and change our position.
Well, and you did see some independent media hanging around. Things like the more known ones, like Rebel Media. I seen that they were in there. Juno.
Oh, this is a big deal. I got to meet Kian from Juno.
Yeah.
They invited us. Well, we slammed an invite into them and showed up and were received warmly.
They actually were very happy we were there. They knew who we were. They were very nice to us. Everybody was very nice. Free drinks. I know that myself and Nick partook in lots of free things.
Oh, you guys were drinking.
And somehow the next day we got an email that said Juno's running out of money. So I hope that wasn't me and Nick.
Did you guys drain their funding?
We might have.
Oh, guys, come on.
But here's the reason why I gave up my dry January and my sobriety for that was because we were in Brett, the Hitman Hart's personal bar where all of his merchandise is and his brother's merchandise. And I'm a huge wrestling mark. So it was amazing.
I don't know if you saw me becoming irritated with you being excited with every photo on the wall. For a half hour we arrived. I got the history of wrestling from Brady through photos and jock straps and
the bartender
blades.
came up and he goes, "Oh, you're giving a museum tour."
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
He's like, "How do you know about the orange stitching?" There was only one time he ever wore an orange stitching above the hearts, and that was in SummerSlam of '97.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice bar. I'll say that.
Beautiful
It was a lot of fun.
place.
And so thank you to the Juno news people for having us along.
And shouts out to the Hitman staff. They were great.
Yeah.
Very nice to me.
It was nice to do a bit of schmooze there in a couple of the parties and stuff like that and meet some people. And all of them very engaged in conversation.
But what was your overall take? They seemed kind of disappointed. And I don't mean Juno themselves, but I mean people in the Juno vicinity that were there kind of mingling with each other. They seemed kind of... I heard things like there was no actual vote because there was no voting against Pierre when it's just a piece of paper that says yes or no.
Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of fans there. This is one thing that I did notice. Like in politics, this now feels like a real populist thing. Like, people saying, "Wow, what a great speaker he is." And wow, he's very motivating. And that is important, of course. But at the same time, I think that people were a little left adrift on topics like, what are we doing with the U.S.? What's your solution to trade?
What was one of the big topics they talked about? Changing the national anthem back.
That was interesting. I mean, some of the policy things that he talked about, he was very proud of the youth. I thought that was neat because he was engaging youth in politics. But overall, there were some major topics he met. He really put a focus on managing the business of Canada from a national standpoint, which was, I think, what the party wanted to hear. That's what they want from their leader. They want somebody who's boosting the party line, somebody who's enhancing the discussion topics on the party line, which he is very good at doing. However, I think also there was and I saw a couple of things where there were solutions to problems really kind of outlined. But by and large, he left the tariff issue off the table, except for referencing it quickly. There was not much discussion about how to deal with, the scenario in Calgary and what we're doing to create a trade scenario. There was no real indication that he wants to be a global interactor on the finance side of things,
which is good and bad, depending on what side of that you're on.
But I think people wanted to hear more about that. I think that's the one thing that you could hear. And as we kind of milled about after the experience, now I did speak to a young man, Will. It's up on our YouTube. I'll recommend.
Shouts out Will. What a lovely young man.
Que bonito. He was just an amazing guy
So
with the
nice.
truth from his heart, kind of reflecting many people. There he was at the convention. And he came out and he said, I got to tell you, man, that Pierre Poilievre is an amazing orator. He's just a really good speaker. But I voted for Carney. The problem with Carney is Carney's boring. And he goes on to explain, not in an offensive way, that what we need right now is somebody who has this ability to motivate Canadians. And he thought that might be Pierre Poilievre. But it was interesting to see somebody who voted Liberal show up at a conservative convention. Talk about engaged young man in politics here in Canada. I thought that was really cool.
He's a true patriot.
Yeah.
And that's what he said at the end. When you were like, you sound like a patriot. He goes, of course I am. Like, it was almost a dumb question that you asked him that, right? He's like, of course I'm a patriot.
Well, it's so funny because we get a lot of grief about, oh, patriot in your name. Oh, you guys must be right. Well, if we're such right-wing nut bars, why couldn't we get into this party? I don't understand.
I think this Calgary just proved exactly what we are, which is non-biased, trying to have as many discussions so that we can understand what's going on as Canadians and try and do better. And the irony doesn't fall flat on me that we ended this whole thing in a pro wrestling bar.
Yeah, it's so funny. It was WWE in a lot of ways. I'll tell you some of the things that I took away from the convention. It was kind of lame in the sense that it was like there was not a lot of, there wasn't a lot of like,
we had more advertising on billboards than they did.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't understand why there was no real presence in the town. And I'm a little weirded out that they've got $48 million. I don't know how they...
Where did it go? There was no band?
At $2,000 max a person, that's 20,000 people. So
we handed out more free merch and hats to people and delegates than... I didn't see any conservative stuff being handed out.
No. People bring their own stuff.
It's just...
It just didn't feel like...
It seems backwards now.
It didn't seem like a party at all. It felt like a networking event. That's what it felt like more than anything to me.
And I did speak to a delegate from Ontario. I'm not going to out who they are, but they just said this is so much, and they were older in their 80s. They said this is so much different than the way it used to be. When you came to these things before, whether it was conservative, liberal, NDP, whatever it was, they made you feel good when you were there. They gave you merchandise not only to represent the party, but to make you feel like you actually got something for being there.
Yeah.
They took you out for dinner. There was bands. There was a whole finger foods. None of that was going on as far as I could see, unless it was upstairs in a green room somewhere.
Maybe we were not.
There was nothing provided for these people. It didn't seem like it should have been politics are, yes, they can be extremely serious. You can get into fights with people talking about them, but they're also supposed to be fun. When you're engaging and you're going to a convention to support who you think should be either the leader of the country or the leader of the province or whatever it is, this is supposed to be fun and exciting. And we're going to make change and we're going to do what's good for them.
No, that wasn't the vibe.
None of that was there. It was all
maybe the night of the speech, but as I say, we were not inside.
But we were at the after party with everybody else. And I didn't see that.
There was no real excitement after that. I have to be honest with you. That shocked me. Like in the streets, people were just kind of lumbering along. There was no, cheering a slogan. There was no, there was a lot of, that was good, but what about this? And I think the other thing that I got in speaking to delegates was that, yes, they're all very supportive of Poilievre, but they're also a little bit, they want to see change in that party. Yeah. They want to see policy change, approach change, campaign change. And I wonder if that's what they're going to get with the same guy there.
I just want to see excitement. I just want, like, if Pierre is this charismatic gentleman that everybody thinks that he is, let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Well, he's a hell of a speaker. I will say that. But you know what? It's real easy to get motivated on the back of rhetoric. And I think that's the thing that I hope that changes in this process overall. The other thing that I have to say to you is I think that we're short a few parties in this country based on the people that I talked to there, because there's a gap.
There's a big gap.
There's a gap where the polarity no longer exists and solutions start to arrive, where you get some more checks and balances from other parties, where you start to get other expertise and other eyeballs on what's happening at the federal level.
And
I wonder if that's going to be the result of
and when you have those other parties that aren't just throwing stones, it's not just a stone like war that's going on. Hey, I'm going to say this bad about you, and you're going to say this bad about me, and then I'm going to return on that. And before you know, it's 3 years of just arguing back and forth. A new party will come in and say, keep arguing. Here's what we need to do to fix things.
I mean, unless it becomes the NDP. And so the NDP has imploded on the basis of lack of credibility in Parliament. But
in my opinion, there's no real leader there.
No, and there's not. They don't have any. They don't have a huge amount of support. Whether they'll get a comeback in the next election, I don't think so. But a lot has to happen between now and spring. I'm hearing that there's going to be an election. Elections Canada's already reaching out to make sure that they've got staffing and polling and locations. There's a short time to go a long way for the Conservatives. I'd like to have been up closer and asked some questions. I wish we had that opportunity, but it didn't prevent us from talking to the people there in Alberta that had opinions and some of the experts. So I'm going to recommend people go and check that out. This afternoon, this is Monday, right?
This is Monday, yes. Monday.
So by Monday afternoon of this week, you'll see the amazing interview that we did about separatism in Alberta, followed by 2 or 3 other great episodes there over the next week. So Calgary, thanks for your hospitality. We had a great time.
Little sidebar, we got to pet some wolves.
That was nuts.
Shouts out Forrest, the wolf man.
Oh, Forrest was amazing. This guy.
Oh my goodness.
Cochrane's a beautiful little town.
Beautiful.
So we showed him Cochrane for lunch, and in the parking lot is a truck, and in the back of the truck is, I'm going to say 8 dogs.
8 wolf dogs, yes.
Wolf dogs, yeah.
Like half wolf, half German shepherd. Some of them were full on.
Beautiful dogs.
Gorgeous. And very well behaved.
I said to the guy, of course, what's with the dogs? And he goes, that's nothing. There's 5 more in the cab. I was like, this is wonderful. But he rescues dogs.
Very nice man.
And just lovely people. That was cool.
Wolf, like when can you ever say, hey, I just pet 8 wolves today?
Alberta, you're beautiful. Don't leave.
After we ate a yak dinner.
We had yak. It was very beautiful. Yeah.
So Calgary, thank you very much. Everybody that helped us when we were out there, everyone who was kind to us, whether it was a person at a gas station, people at studios, street teams, whatever it was, outside of the Conservative Party, everyone, thank you very much. You were very generous and very hospitable.
What if I change the ending to this? Okay. Congratulations on your landslide victory, putting you into position as the leader of the Conservative Party once again.
Let's finish it with that.
Yeah.
And then let's send it today.
We'll think about it. Thanks so much for joining us. Subscribe, tell a friend. Not all of our discussions are this loose, but
please
it was nice to wrap up.
Please download the app.
Yeah, you'll get it on the Play Store and on the
App Store.
App Store. That's what it's called. Thanks. We'll see you next time.